and welcome back to our first episode of the Forging Excellence show of 2025.
Woo!
I was gonna say, woo, celebration! Even though it's really cold. I am Christine Kawai. He is Mark Smith. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, but I'm really excited because we have one of the finest men you'll ever meet on the podcast today. This is going to be great. We got a guy from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
I love him because he's a big Spartan. I love him because he's a great dad. I love him because he's a great man. But this Super Bowl champion, Mr. Greg Jones. Greg, great to see you.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm pumped, man. This is cool. Thank you for having me. This is going to be exciting. I'm excited. This is ready. I'm ready.
Oh, wait.
I'm ready.
Real quick. So Cincinnati, are you a Skyline chili guy or a Detroit Coney guy?
Oh, man. I would say if I was in Skyline, it was really for social activities, just to hang out. I've never been a chili guy, and I know we're gonna get into this, but my dad loved hot dogs, so I've had so much. I'm like, dude, like I don't know when to see another hot dog right now.
Like, I'm tapped out.
Yeah, no, but honestly, no, the things that Skyline has done in the area, and I mean directly to me, and they're very involved in the city. They have their own sports type of award as well too. I've been nominated for that growing up, so no, they do a great job. I'm just not that guy, but I am Graders. I do love Graders. And I do love Donatos, our thin crust. So yeah, I'm good.
Donatos.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so
See, we get all the
those are my
important
two.
questions out of the way first, so now that we know.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there's a place
Greg-
called Buskins too that has like really big donuts. That's my jam too.
Oh, there you go. See, Greg, that's this show, the hard-hitting questions.
Right.
That's what we do.
Hey, it could cause fights.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, Greg, we
Yeah.
got a lot of people who watch us who really love to see people who have hit their stride, right? Have taken it all the way to the top,
Yeah.
right? And are kind of looking back and helping out others, right? Sharing their insights, things like that.
Mhm.
So let's walk through a little bit. Like when you were a young kid, right? Growing up in the Cincinnati area.
Yeah.
What got you into like sports? Which got you into football, right?
Yeah.
Especially to be at that high level.
Yeah, what got me into sports in general was me being an only child. I was one of those kids. I loved the game, and my mom, at the time was working a lot, and so was my father. And I did have a lot of cousins. I did have a lot of cousins that kind of helped me out a little bit. One older one, his name is John, and we still talk to today. But what he kind of introduced me to it a little bit. But he wasn't there with me in elementary, and so I wanted to just be around other kids playing, and I started playing in the playground, and then eventually that led to me grabbing a flyer off of a wall. No social media back then, and so that flyer led to me going to a team called Avondale Warriors in Cincinnati. And I started playing there age 8 years old. Originally, my mom told me I was too small and that I would get hurt. And my dad kind of snuck me out on the field and kind of hid it from my mom. Went and got me all the pads. Went to play it against sports. We didn't have a lot, come from very humble beginnings, and yes, and then from there on, now, I kept playing, and I did really well, and I had a bunch of tackles, and the rest, from there kind of grows, man. But that was my first ever. I started playing around 7, 8 years old. Yeah, that's when I started playing elementary ball, and that's how I got into football, just because I wanted to be around other people, and eventually, meeting great people, great coaches, and people I still talk to today.
Oh man. What
Yeah.
what coach, when you look back, which coach kind of really pushed it where you said, you know what, I love this game. I'm gonna go play college ball.
To push
What
me to
coach
play
kept
college?
you into it? Yeah.
Um, Man, I would say, man, there was a few. I think I would narrow it down to Chris Willard. He's in Bay City. Uh, Bob Crable, who's the all-time leading tackler in Notre Dame history. He was just inducted to the Football Hall of Fame almost, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. And Felix Moore was my Little League coach. And he eventually coached at Holy Cross in Ohio. And yeah, those three guys really pushed me to stay with it despite, all the ups and downs, the injuries, everything. Those three guys really pushed me to stay with it. And just, when it's super competitive, as you know, just to even get a shot. And that what they did really well with me is help me to believe in myself, just as a person and then as a player, to get my goal accomplished. And that's to eventually, at that time was to just to play college football wherever it was at. Obviously ended up being at Michigan State, but those were the guys that really pushed me and helped me get to where I eventually became, at Michigan State. But yeah, had it not been for them taking the time, all of those things, picking me up from practice and the talks after practice and after games, and it's more than just X's and O's. That what a coach does. You become an extension of the family. Truthfully, you become like a dad or a big uncle to some of the kids out there that you're working with because you're with them so much. And anytime you get to see somebody work through hard times, and you help them get through the hard times, it really starts to form a bond that starts to become unbreakable. And so I look up to them, and I always thank them for giving me the opportunity and just not giving up on me.
Wow.
I love that. I will politely keep a secret where I went to school.
You don't have to keep it a secret. Come on.
No, I went to U of M. But
Where'd
what
you go?
was your time? Right? What was that? All right.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to U of M, so
There's no problem. I'm undefeated at U of M.
And you know what? So the time that I was there, I have a feeling you might have been the one.
Go green.
You guys might have been the ones that beat us because the 4 years I was there, it was like, oh man, this used to be fun.
Tough time.
Yeah.
But no, what was your time like at State?
Man, it was man, it's hard to really put in words, but I'm gonna try. It was a time where I really grew up, to be honest with you. And I never thought a kid from Cincinnati would eventually grow up in a place in East Lansing, but I did. I was again, I'm the only child, so I didn't have a lot, to really lean on there. And also I was one of the few people in my family to even go to school, to even go to college, right? So, and then I was one of few to even earn a scholarship, especially in athletics. I have a couple of older cousins that got in college for academics, which is great, but I was one of the few that got it in athletics, and so that was new territory for a lot of our family that we had no idea, what I mean, how it all worked out. I mean, going to camps, recruiting, all of it, was just new to us. And then actually getting to Michigan State was really cool, interesting. Coach D, at the time, I weighed about 190 pounds, and I played defensive end. And this guy, Mark D'Antonio, had a vision that I couldn't see. He was like, "I'm gonna take you and make you a linebacker." From 109 pounds, stand him up, and we're going to use your speed. We're going to teach you the game between himself and really I work closely with Mike Tressel, who is now a D coordinator at Wisconsin. And so, they kind of they grew me up through the position. I tell a story all the time that in my first ever scrimmage, before the real scrimmage, before the green and white game, I had 13 minuses and 11 tackles. And Coach Narduzzi, who's now the head coach at University of Pitt now, who was the D coordinator for me at Michigan State, he told me, he says, if you didn't have 11 tackles, you'll be cut. But we're going to work with you and get rid of the minuses and do our best to even get you more tackles, right? And get you to the ball and being productive. And so I had to learn a lot. I had to learn just because you might be the guy coming out of high school doesn't mean you're going to be the guy going into a school like Michigan State where there's men, and so and you're a young boy and you're trying to learn. And so I had great guys around me like Caleb Thornhill, Travis King, Ross Weaver, Otis Wiley, a lot of those guys that are still, working with the school there, and I see these guys now in the area now, and talking to them now, and those guys are still very influential in my life, and then they were at that time Michigan State, and took me underneath their arm and showed me what to do and right from wrong, and at an earlier time, and specifically they saw themselves too, as me being the leader on the team, which I didn't think I was, but I was just a hard worker, and I came in, and I didn't want to be redshirted. I was very fearful to wake up every day at 6 o'clock in the morning. I think Coach Manny said that no matter what, 7 days a week, if you're redshirted, you wake up at 6 a.m. to get a workout, even on game day, and Sundays after a game. And so I didn't want to do that. So I worked my butt off to make sure that I had an opportunity to get playing time. And eventually I did. And that freshman year, I led my team in tackles and started and went freshman All-American as well. And, and it just, that time at State was just amazing. I learned so much. And to have my name on the wall there and, now inducted into the Hall of Fame and one of three players to, lead my team in tackles 4 years in a row. And all I wanted to do was just get out of Cincinnati and not get cut. So, it really turned the dream come true there. It really did. And, Michigan State always has my heart, the green and white forever, be attached to me and my family as well, too. So, yeah, no, it was great. Great time. I met my wife there. We've been together for 15 years now, so, and three kids. And so it's just, it's been a blessing. It really has.
Wow. Greg, that's awesome to hear, man.
Yeah.
Like, what do you tell kids, like kids who are in middle school right now, coming up through high school?
Yeah.
What is the difference between what they're doing now and what they need to do to be on
Yeah.
like a D1 team?
I think right now, a lot of kids, what they're doing is they're watching highlights, right? They're watching the guys that make it, and they're like, I want to be that. And they're only looking at the highlights.
Mhm.
And what they need to be doing is preparing for the hard times. When you got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning after a
Yep.
killer workout the night before, and you got to study for an exam, and you're about to play on primetime TV at 8 o'clock at night, and you know what I mean. And there's stress there, that can be prepared for. Not all of it, but there's some stress there that can be prepared for, and that's one thing that I tell a lot of young guys, like, don't just look at myself or high as up as Tom Brady when things are done. Think about the times when we weren't 6 round draft picks, and you're on the brink of getting cut, and
Hmm.
things, you're back against the wall and you got a lot going on. I recommend to a lot of young athletes, right? Like, embrace the adversity. Embrace the fact that your coach is challenging you, not because you can't do it, but because you can. And so he wants to use these moments as teachable moments that are going to make you stronger, not
Yeah.
for just the sport, right? But for life, right? Like, all of us in business, right? There's times where the same thing as athletes, where we're tired, we're sick, like we're hungry, we've been up. My kid got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to put him back down. Another one had a nightmare, and I still got to get up and go to work and
Yep.
perform at a high level, right? The same is true for the athletes as well. And so one of the things I tell, my kids and the kids I work with is that you got to learn to embrace this adversity, because then, right, when you do have that success, it means that much more to you, and there's no excuses. And a lot of the kids I see now, they make excuses like, oh, well, I didn't have this and I didn't have that. I'm like, dude, like, for the high school kids that are struggling getting recruited, I tell them all the time, I'm like, dude, you got social media. He's like, well, so what does that mean? That means, dude, that you can there's the degree of separation used to be 6 or 8. Now it's 1, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so where I can just DM a coach, and whether he tells you, right, like he's not interested or he is, right, that's still an answer, And so all your work, you're leading or taking all those no's and try to find the one yes. Because at the end of the day, you can only go to one school and play for one team, right? So why not just take a shot, And I tell them, like, hey, there's no fear there, right? There, and actually they things work out, and they could applaud you for just having the courage on your own to write that message. And the proof is in the pudding. There's many stories out there, from not just football but from all sports. With basketball coming up here in March, we're
Yeah.
here real soon. We're going to hear a lot of stories like this, where guys just kept reaching out, kept reaching out. They got a chance. Now they're starting. They're the NIL's in play. All these things are in place. So to answer that question, though, is to really just embrace the adversity now, and don't shy away from good coaching. If a coach is challenging you, again, it's not because they think you can't do it. It's because they know you can, and they want you to rely on these moments, because these challenges will continue to happen. But to embrace the adversity at a young age, I think is very, very important.
I love that because especially with facing adversity, it's not a if it happens, if a when it happens.
Yes,
And just
yes,
like training your body, you learn these
yeah,
skills as you
yeah.
face challenges that you
Hmm.
now have to get through whatever, next challenge, because it's not like you're one and
Right,
done either. Like it's
right,
this
right.
challenge and then
Yeah.
the next one. But I can't imagine the difference between, with social media now in play and just being bold and being brave enough to put yourself out there. So as
Yeah,
we went through, we talked about young Greg, we talked about college
yeah.
Greg. Now, when it came to draft night, what was that like for you?
Oh my gosh. I want to say, so the draft process was strange for me in a way, because and I say this, and I've talked about this before. My parents were very involved in selecting my agent, and we went with an agent to start, we went for the heart, and that's great, but you need one that is also that matches intellectually as well too, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And so yeah, he's with you, he's for you, he's got your back, right? But will he get you the best deal? Is he recognized amongst other GMs and presidents of organizations? Is he in good standing, right? And so, with that being said, we didn't know, right? I didn't know, I had no idea. I'm training, of course. I'm going to say, for anybody in the process, don't look at social media, don't look at websites. Don't go to NFL Draft Scout at 1 o'clock in the morning, right? You know what I mean? But I did, because you never done it before. You just want to know where you're at in the process, because you've seen, with Troy Smith, right, who won a Heisman, not get drafted, or not get drafted to the 6th round. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
a guy like Lamar Jackson, who was supposed to go first and he went 32nd. You know what I mean? And so it's a bunch of stories, but mine personally, it was a roller coaster, because I had a good Senior Bowl, which is what you're about to hear now here soon. It's the Reese's Senior Bowl, where the top prospects were essentially every single person in that game will be drafted or will be on a team at some point in time, whether it's through free agency, or going as a rookie free agent, or getting drafted in the 7 rounds. But yeah, I had a decent game, I thought. Obviously, I had some mistakes. It was not perfect, but I had a really decent game, very sound. I was like second or third or whatever in tackles for the whole game, so it wasn't a bad showing. Then after that, you go to the combine. My combine was okay; it was above average. And then you have your pro day, and then you have your visits that you'll do with certain teams around the league who are looking to fill a spot that you play in, right? And so, those processes are different. You have interviews and all this stuff, and I never had an NFL interview before. You walk into a room, and this is true. You walk into the room. Oh, they've actually shown it now on TV. You walk into the room, and you think there's one person in the room, and there I walked in to meet with the Saints, and Sean Payton sat right to the left of me, right, and the linebacker coach sat right to the right of me, and there's 15 other people behind you taking notes, psychiatrists, trainers, everybody is taking notes on you and just watching you react. right? And then you're trying not to react to watching them react, watching you react. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's tough because you're trying to stay focused, and
Yeah.
then you go and I meet with the Jaguars and Jack Del Rio. It got you up on the board, and he's grilling you. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so the draft process was very, I went, some said second round, some said third, some said he's not getting drafted, and you look and you see all these things, and your agent's telling you one thing. He's like, just keep your phone on. The biggest thing I would definitely say is, please, guys, whoever you are, whoever you see this, keep your phone on as much as you possibly can. The worst thing on any draft night is for you not to be by your phone or your phone is off. So, but honestly, and I tell this story to a lot of kids who are hoping to go to a big school, or they're hoping to go to their hometown. You want to go for the best fit. What I mean by that is that I'm from Cincinnati, and I had a tryout with Cincinnati, and I did really good in the tryout. And I'm like, it's my hometown. I
Yeah.
really want to go there. I really, really want to be a part of it. And I didn't get drafted by them, right? And then Jacksonville came up, and they had a top pick, like second to high second round, low third, or sorry, yeah, low second round, high third round pick. And I'm like, obviously there's a big number attached to that pick, and I really wanted it. I had my shirt picked out, all this stuff, and I didn't go there, right? And so, I got a little bit down, I will say, but I will tell you it's so worth it to go where you're meant to go where God has for you, because neither one of those teams since have won a Super Bowl, but the Giants have,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yep.
so that's why I tell kids, like, just stay in your moment. Like, when you're going through that process, like, I know it's tough, but you want to go what's best for you. And the cool thing about the Giants, which I thought was cool, is that when we won, I know I'm kind of getting ahead, but when we won the Super Bowl, um, afterwards, I saw the recruiter that came to watch me practice at Michigan State, and we went up to him. I'm like, dude, like, how did you know? He says, Greg, he said, I saw you make one play in practice, and he said, no, you walked away. He said, yeah, he said, that's all I needed. I knew you were going to play here in New York. I knew it. My gut always
Wow.
told me that we're going to
Incredible.
draft you, we're going to take you. And I'm like, what? And I'm not lying. He was there for like 15 minutes. I was like, man, well, the Giants aren't taking me, right? That's initially what I thought. And he says, no.
Right?
He
He
says,
walked in
I
and
knew.
walked right
Yeah,
out.
they're gone.
Right, dude. He came to practice, saw me make a play, and he left. I was like, well, I guess they're off the board. You know what I mean? On to the next 31 teams. And so, but no, it
Yeah.
was a true blessing. It's a dream come true. A kid from Section 8 housing, not having a whole lot, and being given the world, and get the key to the city. You go and visit President Obama, all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's just a true
That's awesome.
blessing to go to a place like that and get drafted. It still gives me chills and goosebumps to think about it. But yeah, it's just a dream come true, and I hope for every young kid that I do, they have that opportunity. I really do.
That's cool. Now you're helping some people train and get ready for the combine, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
So
how's that going?
this is going good. This winter, I work, well, every winter I try to work with a bunch of kids getting ready for that process. When they come out out of college, and help them get ready for that next part of life. But it's going good. It feels longer because it's not till the spring, but it goes by really, really fast. When you think about all we do in life, and training, a couple of hours when you can to make it work and mix in there so you can be ready for your moment is tough. But those few months fly by really, really fast though as well too. So yeah, I have um, a kid by the name of Jacob Dobbs out of James Madison University. I work with him when he's in high school. Um, he's actually going to be going through the process, and getting ready for the draft, and his agent. I mean, it's tough too with this stuff too because you got to work out contracts. I told him anytime he's here, in Michigan, but his agent's like, I got a spot or whatever. But anyhow, my point being is that I've worked with like two or three guys now that are, played professional ball, and I have another class coming up here in the next year, maybe 2 years. So That's going to be really, really cool. I got another linebacker, Brock Horn, out of Bowling Green. He'll be getting ready for the draft here real soon as well too. He was a team captain, two year captain. He's getting ready for the draft as well too. So, yeah, I'm excited. It's cool because these guys, when I met them, they were boys, and
Mm-hmm.
I sent Mark that picture of Brock Horn. I don't know if you remember that,
Oh
with
yeah.
the mullet walking into a game, and he's like,
Yeah.
and he's a man, you know what I mean, and he's a
Mm-hmm.
man, and so those are some of the things that's just like it changes, it changes you when you're on this side of things because you get to see them mature and come back, and there's more hair in their face, and they got that look in their eye, and I'm just like, dude, like.
Yep.
Like, man, I'm so happy for so many guys, but everybody, anybody in the process, I'm praying for them. I'm hoping that I'm wishing the absolute best for them because it is a journey, and I just want the best for everybody. I really do.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
speaking of changes, so now you are drafted, you are officially a, NFL player. Is there a
Yeah.
moment that sticks out to you that it really kind of dawned on you of like, I have achieved something, or like, wow, like I did not, expect this, or just kind of that real moment of sinking in of I got here.
Yes. My first week, okay, my first game week. Let me be more clear. My first game week. Um, it's was it Monday? It's a Monday. It's a Monday, and the starter above me, I beat out the second guy. Unfortunately, they let him go, and I'm the next guy up, and the I get a call at like 10 o'clock at night for my linebacker coach. My heart's pumping because I'm like, dude, he's never ever called me this late. And our starter middle linebacker bumped knees with a guy, and he walked off. So I'm like, he's fine, whatever. He tore his ACL.
Wow.
Yes, he tore his ACL. And I am now the starter going into week one versus the Washington Redskins. And I had a decent first game. I had a decent first game to the point that for week one and week two, I was leading the league in tackles in my first 2 weeks in the NFL, right?
Nice.
And so, and I didn't, I wasn't, that wasn't even my mind. I was just like, dude, let me do my job. Let me be a great teammate. You know what I mean? All those things. I thought in my mind the numbers would eventually come, but I was just thinking being a great teammate. But to answer your question, Christine, was, yeah, that first week, I was like, okay, this is me. You know what I mean? And so I was able to find it's on YouTube now, and like and my son, I show that game to my son now because he doesn't believe me now. So because it's not on social media, so he doesn't believe me.
Right. Sit
So
down.
yeah, right. And so yeah, we're in a position now, and our that was a position at that time. Sorry to really let me know that, man, I can do this. I can play here, and it'd be a lot of fun too. All the things that you work for. It'd be a lot of fun to make it through training camp. It was a different type of training camp because we didn't have a lot. We didn't have OTAs. It was a lockout year in
Right.
2010. So there was no OTAs, no nothing. You're not weren't even allowed to even go near the facility. So yeah, that moment really, after going through all that, everything I've been through, and getting there to that first week, and hearing your name called, and then you watch the TV copy, and they do the cool graphic where your name comes up and it gets highlighted, and you got the R
Yep.
next to it. You know what I mean? And it's like, dang, man, like that's you. You know what I mean? I wish I would took a better picture, but that's you. You know what I mean? So, but other than that, though, no, no. All jokes aside, though, yeah, that was the moment, that first week, and then obviously, leading up to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. How surreal
Yeah.
was that? You guys win the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
In crazy fashion,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. We go
Like
for it. Yeah.
walk me through that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
clock hits zero.
So we are. How about I go a little bit before I go to where a lot of teams are right now going into Sunday. Right, we're a wild
Yeah.
card team, and it's funny. I kind of got into a little bit of argument with my brother-in-law because we're talking about the Lions, and if they lose, what happened if they win? And I'm like, if they win, do you want to see a team like us, a wild card team, right? That's got a lot of momentum. You know what I mean?
Right.
And because it's so surreal to watch 70 something guys counting the practice roster all come together and just say, hey, let's just do it. You know what I mean? It's a very, very major league moment. Let's just win the whole thing. You know what I mean? And so, and we did it, and we were a wild card team going into the Falcons, and then you beat the Falcons, and I had the first tackle in that game on kickoff and to get things rolling. And then, we go to Green Bay, against Aaron Rodgers, and in a
Mhm.
freezing game, and you win, and then you go to San Fran and you win there, and now you're back in Indy, where the combine was, by the way, right? So it was a really surreal moment, because at the combine they're like, only a few of you guys are ever going to come back here, and so to be on that team that came back to that moment was really awesome. It really was.
And then
That is
just
so
real
cool.
quick out of my own curiosity. So with
Yeah.
those freezing games, how on
Yes.
earth do you stay warm? Like stay Is there
So
any is there any trick?
no, it's really, what? That's not fair. There is. I won't say tricks. There's just a lot of things that you would do to keep your kids warm. We still do it, you know what I mean? Big coats. Some use, I've heard on TV, the Tiger Bomb that heats you up really, really
Yep.
fast.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? There's that. But the biggest thing, like you would tell anybody else, is just don't stop moving. That's the worst thing, is that you want to keep running. You know what I mean? I think you're going to see a lot of these guys that are playing in these colder climates over this past or upcoming weekend, where you're going to be seeing guys just rocking, and there's no music. And
Just keep moving.
you know what I mean, and you're just trying to stay moving, and that, so yeah, that as well. And then there's a mindset, I think, too. You got to understand that, and I tell this to anybody, that like you kind of forget about it. As crazy as it sounds, you're thinking about winning like so much. But there's other things. I mean, you got heated fans, you got the heated benches, the sports technology in the equipment space is amazing, and it's evolving, it's getting better. I mean, there's companies out there that are working on heating up shoulder pads and cooling them down in the summer, as well too. So there's a lot of things out there that are starting to happen, and to just because you're on the field, it's always 20 degrees warmer than what you're going to see come across the
Yeah.
screen,
Yep.
right? So that's a natural thing as well too. That, like I said, it was kind of tough because, like, not necessarily a trick, but it's kind of just known. You know what I mean? When you get to that spot.
I always feel bad when you see something like Buffalo, right? And they've got
Right.
like,
Dig them out.
47 feet of snow. And you're like, okay, 20 degrees warmer on the field. Does that matter?
It, dude, I played there at night,
Oh,
At
when I
night,
was
no
with,
less.
and well, the hard part was that when you go from cold to cold, right? You kind of acclimated. At the time, I
yeah.
was playing for the Jaguars, and you know what I mean. You fly out of 70 degrees and into like 16 with a wind chill. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's tough there. But no, it's that whole thing, the snow. I mean, I gotta give a lot of props to the fan base, because there's no way I'm paying money to shovel anything whatsoever, though. So yeah, props to them, though, for sure.
But
Yeah,
one
it's
thing that always cracked me up when my sister and I would be downtown, and let's say, so we've seen, a few Tigers players in their
Hmm.
cars, and then you
Yeah,
have your Red Wings and your Lions players, and the difference in vehicles of the guys
yeah,
that are like, I have to get downtown in the snow.
right,
Like, I'm not
right.
taking my
yes.
little sports car
Yeah,
around.
No, no, heavy duty, 4-wheel drive. You got it.
that's it.
Right?
That's what
Yeah.
you need. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Greg, so you hit this pinnacle, you win the Super Bowl, you have a great career,
Yeah.
and then you decide, you know what? I think it's time for me to give back. I'm going to coach kids,
Yeah.
including your own, right? Help them
Yes.
be
Yeah.
better. What do you tell these kids like day one? What do you tell them in terms of expectations, what you're going to help them out with, what they're going to
Well,
do?
it's so funny, Mark, because and I tell all my guys that are, towards the end of their career, the same thing that's going to happen to them, like it happened to me. A guy like Mark, anybody could say, "Hey, man, can you come by and just give a few pointers?" And then you put so much into those like 5 or 10 minutes, and then it becomes, well, hey, how much would it be, for your time for an hour, right?
Right,
And
right.
then you do really good with that 1 hour, and then one turns into 10, and then and so it started out, to your point, I just wanted to help. I just wanted to help, and I wanted kids to hear it from somebody who's done it before. And there's no disrespect to those that haven't, that are still doing great things in football. Obviously, the biggest one is Bill Belichick, right? Who didn't play that much at all, and they almost renamed the Lombardi Trophy after him, right? Because he's won so many times.
Mhm.
But no, honestly, it just was. I just wanted them to hear it from somebody who's done it before and give them real, like, things like, hey, like, I know what it's like to tackle somebody bigger than you. I know what it's like, what I mean, to get ready in conditioning. I know what it's like to get ready for a testing event that you may be going to. And so I know what it's like to get ready for a season, and so that's why I kind of got into it, is because I just really wanted to give kids and families a firsthand experience of what to expect coming up, and me being up to date with a lot of what's happening right now, and now in youth sports, and then eventually as they get into high school and college. So, yeah, I think it's just been a blessing. I'm definitely like a teacher's coach, in the sense that, like, I really love the aha moment, right? When a kid, that light bulb goes on, and they're like, "Coach, I did that thing you said and it worked," and that right there, man, is everything. It's no amount of money, no nothing. That right there is everything. Except with my son, he drives me nuts because he never wants to admit it, ever wants to admit it, until like months later he's like, "Oh yeah, we worked on that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, we worked on that for like 3 weeks, and then you
Right,
did it in the
right. Yeah.
I
game."
guess
You
it
know what I
worked.
mean? You're
Yeah.
right. So, but anyhow, no, no, he's super. He's a good kid. I razz him a lot, but he's a good kid. But honestly, no, I love that moment, and I think, to me, that's why I do it for, man, because I like when kids get to see that, and then I really, really love when those kids take that hard work and everything they learn into their next life, in business, whatever it is. And something that I am proud about, a lot of kids that I've worked with that are now in business. I got a lot of entrepreneurs that are in business and doing great things, and I got a lot of smart kids. I was like, man, I think I got more kids that are smarter than me in school. Because I got engineers. I got one that went to Lawrence Tech, and he's working with Ford with a chip that can communicate from car to car, right? And yeah, dude. And I got one, and he went from detailing cars to real estate, and now he's investing, and now, you know what I mean. It's just
Oh, it's,
like,
it's awesome.
it's amazing, right?
Well, good. Well, Greg, I'll tell you, it's been a pleasure having you here and walking through this, man. I love it. I know you got stuff to do. You got to go. But now, let's say there's somebody who's getting ready for the or for the NFL Combine, or heck, for college. Is there a way they can contact you to say, "Hey, I'd love for you to train me"?
So the best way is, or a few different ways. Social media. If you see any of my social media on Instagram, I am GJ Speed and Agility, and you can message me there, DM me there. Same thing on TikTok, and the same thing on X or Twitter, if you just feel weird saying that like I do, um, as well too. And then I'm on Facebook as Greg Jones, and then anybody can email me as well too, at gregjones513 at gmail.com, as well too. So yeah, those would probably be the better ways. And just, yeah, let me know, and we'll get rolling, get started.
Love
That's
it. We'll
awesome.
also link everything in the description
Yeah.
so you
Cool,
can
cool,
find it
cool,
all
cool.
easy there
Yeah,
as well.
Good.
yeah, I
All right.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, Greg, appreciate it, man. It's been an awesome show.
Yeah,
Hopefully you can hang around afterward. We're going to talk about a couple more things, but really appreciate it. Greg, you're awesome. What a great mentor. And you guys,
thank you,
seriously, if you want your kids to succeed and hit that next level, that's your guy,
thank
right? Hit
you,
up Greg
thank you,
and get him to that next level, I guess, physically and mentally as well, man. That's
thank you
awesome.
so much. I appreciate it.
Good,
Thank you.
All
good.
right. Thank you.